cost, because if he could not be in the field, he could be somewhere else. For example, if he could not be engaging in the field, he might be earning somewhere else, maybe in Narega activities, or based on whatever skills he used to have. Okay, so that is the implicit cost, which for the farmer, which he don't incur, he don't pay himself. While calculating the cost of cultivation, you might be aware of this different cost concept: cost A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, like that. So in that, there is one component that, like, implicit cost. So where it means that the farmer doesn't need, he don't pay himself the money directly. Okay, so that is implicit cost. But whenever he is paying money to someone else for the service which he is rendering, for the service which he is receiving, he has to pay some cost to the outsiders. So that is explicit cost. Now coming to the opportunity cost, the value of next best alternative that is foregone when another alternative is chosen. For example, I will go with same example. There is one farmer. He has different alternatives to earn money. For example, he could invest in the agriculture also. He could invest his labor in agriculture field, or he could be earning from the Narega also. Okay, so the next best alternative for him is the cost which he has foregone. For example, if he is engaged in agriculture, so he might have foregone the benefit which he would have got from the Narega if he could have employed in Narega activities instead of the agriculture activities. So that is the value of next best alternative that is foregone when another alternative is chosen. So here he has chosen agriculture over the Narega activity. So the benefit, the wage rate or salary which he could have got out of the Narega is his next value of his next best alternative, which he has foregone in the pursuit of choosing agriculture as a profession. Okay. Then second is your economic cost. So economic cost, as already I have discussed earlier, but it can be economic cost. If you have to compute the economic cost, it is the sum of explicit cost and implicit cost. So whatever cost he has incurred by paying money to outsiders, and the cost which he has not incurred exactly by paying himself, but that cost he has incurred, that is his economic cost. And accounting cost. Accounting cost does not include the implicit cost. For example, I am a labor. Okay, if I am a labor, I am a farmer, and I have invested 100 rupees on fertilizers. And if I could have be engaged in Narega activities, I could have earned 100 rupees per day from Narega activities. So, but I am not been engaged in Narega. So, if I have to calculate my economic cost, it would be around 100 rupees for fertilizer and 100 rupees for my labor, which will be required for producing one crop output, like X. Maybe it can be paddy or wheat or whatever it will be. So, for producing X amount of output, he has to be required 100 units of 100 rupees of rupees value of fertilizer and 100 rupees value of the labor input. But did he pay this labor inputs, labor price to anyone else? No, he has not paid, because he has engaged himself. So labor is his implicit cost. When in accounting cost, we don't we don't calculate, involve or add this implicit cost. We only add the explicit cost which he has incurred in the past. Okay, so and thing is that the accounting cost is required only for the accounting purpose. And because, for example, if a firm is running, okay, if his firm is running and he is incurring different kind of cost, and they are maintaining a record of that cost, so this account, that is on some account. Okay, so they are maintaining the details of the cost on some account. So that is called accounting cost, and which can be verified by someone else. For example, there is some clerk who is in the firm, who is maintaining all the records of the cost. But that cost, this account will be verified by someone else, maybe some managerial or administrative person in the firm. So that is his accounts being verified, okay, by someone other person. So that is only for accounting purpose. Okay, I think this economic cost and accounting costs are clear. Is it? Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. I would like to interact in between. Okay. So be ready with questions also, and I will also be asking questions in between, so that I can be sure that you are really listening. Okay. So now coming to the sunk cost. Sunk costs are already been incurred and cannot be recovered. For example, if I have to purchase some land, okay, I have to start a crop production activity on some piece of land, and if I have purchased a land, okay, means I have already invested some amount for purchasing of land, but at later point of time I decided that I should not for this season I am not going to grow any crop, okay. So I have invested already on some land, okay, but then I have decided I will not incur, I will not go for crop production or any kind of activities. I will leave this land ideal for this particular season. So the cost which I cannot recover right now, because it is already been incurred, okay, that is a sunk cost. But non-sunk cost, before investing on the land, if if before investing on the land, if I have to decide whether I should go for purchasing of land or not, okay. So before making any decision to purchase our land or not, it is a sunk cost, non-sunk cost, okay. But once it is incurred, then it can be called sunk cost, okay, because you cannot recover that. Once you have purchased input from the shop, there is very less likelihood possibility that you may not return it, or he cannot accept the return out of your whatever you have purchased. For example, if you have purchased a bag of urea from a shop, you cannot return it, okay. In general cases, there are some explicit cases where you can have this kind of facility because of maybe some of your reputations, or maybe some faultness in the faulty inputs. But generally we assume that there is homogeneous input, homogeneity in the input, and they are of good quality, so we don't assume that it can be again be recovered back, okay. So that is even non-sunk cost. They are coming to short run and long run cost. You might have aware about the fixed resources and variable resources, okay. When we talk about the variable resources, in long run all the resources are variable. For example, if we take decision of uh, land, okay, land cultivating in a piece of land over 100 years of time, or maybe 50 years of time, there is some possibility that that particular piece of land can be sold back, or can be redeveloped, or can be modified. Uh, so in long run, there is all the this cost of land that is variable, okay. But in a year or season, then there is very little possibility that the land will be get sold, or can be modified, or can be developed. There's very less chances, okay. So this in long runs, all the resources are variable, but in short run, some of the resources they can be kept fixed. For example, other example, if you take, if uh, in case of machinery or capital equipments, in short run they are generally kept fixed, but in long run they are generally variable, okay. So in this slide we have discussed about different kinds of cost. Okay, so now coming to the cost curves. So because seeing is believing, and visualization are the good tools to understand the things very clearly. As I have already said, that this cost can be computed by this economic cost is equal to explicit cost and implicit cost. Mathematically, it can be also expressed like total cost is equal to total variable cost and total fixed cost. Fixed cost is the expenditure which entrepreneur uh, or farmer or anyone can incur on the fixed assets like machineries on land or salaries, like that. Okay, but there are some variable inputs for which varies with the level of production. Okay, for example, if I have to produce 100 quintal of paddy, and hypothetically if I for producing 100 quintal of paddy, I am applying 50 kg of urea. It is hypothetical situation. Okay, but if I have to produce 200 kgs of quintal of paddies, so definitely I have to apply more of the urea, assuming all the things remain constant. Okay, so so the input cost, fertilizer cost, will definitely increase with the output. So that is it varies with the output level. So that is called variable inputs. But there are some inputs which are fixed because they cannot be they cannot be multiplied. Okay, like inputs, for example, if I have a tractor. Okay, if I have to produce 100 quintal of paddy, then only I will use one tractor only. And if I have to produce 200 quintal of paddy from a piece of land, it doesn't mean that I would require two tractors. Okay, so it is fixed. The quantity of tractor would be fixed. Maybe machinery is fixed. Okay, so whatever amount which we will incur on this fixed and variable inputs, okay, that is called fixed cost and variable cost. Okay, so there are different kind of fixed sets on which we incur some cost. So if we add all the cost incurred on the fixed asset, it will give total fixed cost. Similarly for the variable cost also. And when we add total fixed cost and total variable cost, it will be like total cost. Okay, for example, if yeah, see, there are some fixed inputs. Okay, let assume it's there x from 1 to n. Okay, there are x inputs and it's their price, like p1. It will give price of all the inputs multiplied by price of quantity of all the fixed asset plus price of the variable in all the variable inputs yeah I have here yeah, x alpha is your fixed asset and x beta is your variable assets, and the quantity of them vary from for the fixed asset, it varies from 1 to n, and for variable assets they vary from 1 to n. Okay, this capital P1 is the price of uh, pi. Okay, let it keep pi. Okay, the price of pi is the price of variable xi. Okay, and similarly let it keep pj. Okay, this pj is the price of your variable j, variable input j. So when you add these things, it will give your total cost. Okay, the total cost. Okay, now coming to the cost function. The cost function, it is the cost is a function of output. Here already I have said the total cost is a function of output. For example, here if you see in this graph, okay, in x-axis we have taken output, q unit per year, and this is your total cost. Okay, the fixed cost will not vary with the level of production. Okay, with the level of output. So it will be remain fixed. So it with as the output increases, it is fixed. Okay, the total cost is your fixed, but your variable cost, it will increase. It will increase with the level of production. You see, at x1 unit of production or q1 unit of production, you have this tvc1. Okay, at this level of production q2, you have tvc2. Okay, at this level of production at qn, you have tvcn. Okay, so at different level of production, you have different variable cost. Okay, so variable cost varies with the level of production. Okay, so that's why it is called variable cost, because it varies with the level of production, where the fixed cost doesn't vary with the level of production. But you see here, the total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Here in this diagram, if I have to calculate total cost out of these two graphs, forget this blue line for a while. Okay, it is your fixed cost. Okay, this line is your fixed cost line, and this is your variable cost line. If I have to add these two lines, definitely this variable cost line will start from here, like this blue line. Okay, so total your total cost will be the summation of total variable cost and total fixed cost. Okay, so it is evident from this diagram also. Okay, now coming to the average cost. The average cost is your average cost is equal to total cost divided by quantity of output. Okay, so which can be represented at like ATC equal to TC divided by X. Okay, now we know that total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. If we substitute this value TC equal to TFC plus TVC in this equation 2 from the equation 1, which we have seen in the last slide. Okay, so we will get this ATC equal to AFC by X plus AVC by X. So which is equal to ATC is equal to AFC plus AVC, means average total cost is sum of your average fixed cost and average variable cost. Okay. Okay, then we will derive it graphically. Here we have derived it mathematically. Okay. Okay, so this is your fixed cost. This is your this is your fixed cost curve. So when your output is increasing. Okay, when your output is increasing and your cost is fixed. So for example, when initially the output is 10 and cost is your 100, again your cost is 100, fixed cost is 100, output is 20, again fixed cost is 100, output is 30. So this will give you some value X, Y, Z, and X is greater than Y is greater than Z. Okay, is it correct, students? Is it okay? समझ में आ रहा है आपको? हेलो,
यस सर।
यस सर।
समझ में आ रहा है ये बात आपको जो मैं समझा रहा हूँ यहाँ एग्जैक्टली?
यस सर।
If you have any doubt, you can ask also. There is no issue in that. Okay. So जैसे आपका आउटपुट बढ़ रहा है धीरे धीरे, ठीक है, आउटपुट बढ़ रहा है, बट आपका फिक्स कॉस्ट तो सेम ही है. ठीक है, फिक्स कॉस्ट आपका सेम ही है 100, बट आपका आउटपुट बढ़ रहा है. तो आपका जो जब आप आउटपुट डिवाइड फिक्स कॉस्ट डिवाइड बाय आउटपुट करोगे, फिक्स कॉस्ट डिवाइडेड बाय आउटपुट इज योर एवरेज फिक्स कॉस्ट. So this is your X, Y, and Z. These are your average fixed cost. Okay, so it is decreasing. So similarly, you see here this yellow line. It is decreasing. It is decreasing with increasing in the level of output. Okay, so this is your rectangular hyperbola. ठीक है. See, this your AFC curve, average fixed cost curve, is your rectangular hyperbola which is derived out of this TFC cost curve. How it is derived? By dividing the total fixed cost by different level of outputs. Okay. If I have to plot this X, Y, and Z corresponding to this X-axis here, so it will be like this. Okay. Similarly, your variable cost, average variable cost, and marginal cost. Okay. So average variable cost, if I have, yeah, this is your variable cost curve. Okay. Total variable cost curve. If I have to calculate the variable cost at this point, okay, this particular point. So what I will do, I will draw one line connecting this point from origin and one perpendicular from that particular point on the x-axis, and it will give and calculate the slope. It will give me the average variable cost. Yeah, this point corresponds to this average variable cost. But at this point, if I have to calculate the marginal cost, what I will do, I will take the tangent of on this TVC curve and calculates the slope of this particular curve. Okay. In earlier case, we are not calculating slope, just we are connecting a line from origin to that particular point and calculating the slope of this particular line, but not of the TVC curve. Okay. So in later case, when we have to compute this marginal cost, what we will do, we will take the tangent on this TVC curve and calculate its slope, and it will slope of this this TVC curve. It will give you a point on here. Okay, you see here, if I have to take this point, for example, yeah, the slope of this less, but slope of this is little bit higher. So you see here, initially the AVC is higher than your MC. Okay, marginal cost. Your average variable cost is higher than your marginal cost. I think I have to erase. Okay, so by this way we can compute this average fixed cost and average variable cost and marginal cost from this total cost curve. Okay, so marginal cost is your slope of your total cost curve, and average cost curve is it is the ATC at any point of output is the slope of the straight line. It is the slope of straight line from the origin, not of the slope of the TVC curve. Okay. So in traditional cost theory, in short run, the cost curve AVC, ATC, and MC, that like average variable cost, average total cost, and marginal cost are U-shaped. Okay. You see here in last slide, your average variable cost and average total cost. Okay, this is average cost. It can be called average total cost also. Average total cost, average variable cost, and marginal cost. All these are your U-shaped curve. This blue line, green line, and this dotted line. Why they are U-shaped? Because they reflect the law of variable proportion. Okay, in short run, with a fixed plan, there is phase of increasing productivity, a phase of decreasing productivity. Okay, you see in this curve, in total cost curve, you see initially the total cost decreases. It means the productivity of the inputs are increasing. Okay, but after reaching a certain point, when this minimum point, when this marginal cost curve intersect the average cost curve, it pulls when marginal cost curves intersect average cost curve from below, and it intersect it at the point and goes above. You see it is pulling this curve above. Till this point, this marginal cost curve is below this average cost curve. So it is pulling it down. But once it goes up, it is pulling the cost curve upside. Okay. So till this point, the costs are declining. But after this point, the costs are increasing. Okay. The same has been said here. So this is about total your traditional cost theory. Okay, so now coming to the relationship between the ATC and ABC or MC or ATC, all these things can be simply, there is no need to mug up all these things. You need to only remember these diagrams, because these diagrams, with the help of this diagram, you can answer any question in your examination if it appears. Okay, for example, if I have to draw some relationship between ATC and ABC. Okay, ATC and ABC. ATC, this is ATC and this is ABC. You see, ABC is part of ATC. Okay, because we have already said that ATC is equal to average total cost is equal to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Okay, so your ABC is the part of ATC. Is it clear? Both ABC and ATC are U-shaped. Your ATC curve, this one blue one, and ABC curve, this green one. Sorry. This green curve, green solid line, and this blue dotted line, your ABC curve, ATC curve and ABC curve, both are U-shaped. Okay, the minimum point of ATC occurs at the right to the minimum point of ABC. Now again, you see here, the minimum point on ATC occurs to the right of minimum point on ABC. Okay, why it is so? Can anyone answer? Students, can anyone answer? Am I audible? और म्यूट करके बैठे हो सब लोग? चलो, कोई इशू नहीं। तो ये जो टोटल आपका एटीसी कर्व है, इसका पॉइंट, मिनिमम पॉइंट राइट साइड में क्यों आता है? इसका एक रीजन, बिकॉज एटीसी कर्व इज इंक्लूडिंग ऑफ योर एएफसी कर्व आल्सो। ओके, तो इसलिए ये इसके राइट में होता है। If I have to draw a relationship between marginal cost and average total cost, okay, marginal cost curve cut ATC and ABC at their lowest point. Okay, आप देखिए अभी ये मार्जिनल कॉस्ट कर्व है SMC, ब्लू सॉलिड लाइन। ओके, ये आपका एवरेज वेरिएबल कॉस्ट एंड एवरेज टोटल कॉस्ट, इन दोनों कर्व को इनके मिनिमम पॉइंट पे इंटरसेक्ट कर रहा है। ये पॉइंट यही होता है, ठीक है। MC is change in the TC for producing an extra unit of output. I have already said the marginal cost is the slope of your total cost curve. Okay, so it is MC is the change in TC for producing an extra unit of output. Slope is what the slope means. Slope, it simply means for producing one extra unit of output, what how much inputs which you would be requiring. Okay, in this case, so as long as the MC lies below the AC curve, you see, जब तक ये ब्लू कर्व है, जो MC कर्व है, जो AC कर्व से जब तक नीचे है, जब तक ये इस कर्व से नीचे है ब्लू डॉटेड वाले से, तब तक आपका एवरेज कॉस्ट कर्व वो डिक्लाइन हो रहा है, ठीक है। बट जैसे ही आपका ये ब्लू सॉलिड लाइन कर्व इसके ऊपर चले जाता है, एवरेज कॉस्ट कर्व के ऊपर चले जाता है, इसको इंटरसेक्ट कर लेता है, ये क्या करता है, ये आपकी जो कॉस्ट है उसको पुल करने लगता है अपसाइड। सो टिल दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, टिल पॉइंट ए your AC is declining and your SMC it is below the your SCC curve. Okay, after this point your SMC curve is above this SAC curve, so shortened average cost, shortened marginal cost, average variable cost and average fixed cost. Okay, so जैसे ही SMC कर्व आपका इंटरसेक्ट करके ऊपर चला जाता है, ये आपका एवरेज कॉस्ट भी अपसाइड पुल होने लगती है। सिमिलरली विथ योर एवरेज वेरिएबल कॉस्ट आल्सो, ठीक है। आई नो इट इज क्वाइट बोरिंग, ठीक है, बट क्वेश्चंस अपीयर्स फ्रॉम दिस ग्राफ्स। ओके, सो डोंट गेट बोर, बी अटेंटिव, ठीक है। अब देयर आर different cases, okay, if when output changes the price of input remains same. If you assume one situation when the output changes but input price remains same, you see here, this is your isocont curve, this curve 1, okay, producing 1 million TV per year, and second is your isocont 2, which is producing 2 million TVs per unit per year. Okay, so here what happens, your prices are price of input remains same, assuming that there are two inputs, capital and labor. Okay, capital and labor are two inputs and their prices remain same, and if there is more demand in the market, the manufacturer of this TV is producing more of the output, but price of input, that capital and labor remains same. In that case, what he has to do, he has to increase the allocation of inputs. Okay, so initially he was when he initially he was incurring TC, total cost divided by the rent. Okay, capital को का जो price होगा, that is rent. Okay, and labor का जो price होगा, that is wage. Okay, so ये TC1 by R, if he could have used all the resource capital, so at this point total cost divided by total rent, और यदि उसने पूरा ही लेबर यूज किया होता, ठीक है, तो टोटल कॉस्ट डिवाइडेड बाय वेज, तो इन दो पॉइंट को यदि हम ज्वाइन करेंगे तो ये क्या आइसो कॉस्ट लाइन बन जाएगा. ठीक है, ये TC1R, ये ग्रीन लाइन, ठीक है, दिस इज योर आइसो कॉस्ट लाइन, दिस इज योर आइसो कॉस्ट लाइन. When these two iso cost line and iso cont line, those are tangent to each other. Okay, at this point A is your cost minimization point. Okay, this is your cost minimization point where he is which is required to produce 1 million TV per year. Okay, but since the output has changed, because there is more demand in the market, and the firm had decided to produce more of the output, means 2 million TVs per year. So he has to allocate his resources like that, because prices are same, but total cost will vary. Okay, because he has to allocate more of the quantities of inputs. Okay, पहले जीरो से K1 अमाउंट ऑफ इनपुट से लगाना पड़ रहा था. ठीक है, अब उसे K2 अमाउंट ऑफ कैपिटल इन्वेस्ट करना पड़ेगा टू प्रोड्यूस 200 मिलियन ऑफ टीवी पर ईयर, एंड L2 अमाउंट ऑफ आउटपुट ही हैज टू इनकर. ओके, सो इसी चीज को हम यदि कॉस्ट कर्व में देखते हैं पहले, तो आपका टोटल कॉस्ट कर्व क्या है लॉन्ग रन में क्या है, सभी वेरिएबल इनपुट्स आपके वेरिएबल है. देयर इज नो फिक्स कॉस्ट एक्चुअली इन लॉन्ग रन. सो यू सी हियर there is no fixed cost curve, which we have seen in earlier graphs. Okay, like here one horizontal line was there, so it is not there here. Okay, okay, so you see it is your total cost curve in long run. Initially, to produce 1 million units of TV, the firm was incurring a total cost which is equal to wage rate into the number of unit of labor employed, which is L1, plus the number of unit of capital used into the price of capital, which is equal to rent. Okay, so you see here total cost curve, total cost at the for producing 1 million unit of TV is equal to TC1, which is equal to WL1, which is equal to price into quantity. Okay, price is your W for your labor, wage rate, into quantity of labor, which is your L1. Similarly, price into quantity, so price is your rent into your K2, K, this is your K. Okay, K1, so this is your capital, this is your price of capital. When you add this, it will give you TC, total cost, for producing 1 million unit of TV. Similarly, for producing 2 million unit of TV, because we have assumed that our prices are same, means W and R are same. Okay, TC2 is equal to W into R, because we have assumed that R and W are same. Okay, but TC2 is higher than TC2 is higher than TC1. क्योंकि आपको ज्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ आउटपुट प्रोड्यूस करना है, तो आपका ये क्वांटिटी एलोकेशन यहाँ पे बढ़ जाएगा, है ना। योर मीन्स L2 इज ग्रेटर देन L1 एंड K2 इज ग्रेटर देन K1। ठीक है, बहुत सिंपल चीज है ये। ठीक है, इफ यू अज्यूम अनदर केस, यदि हमने पिछले केस में देखा कि आपका आउटपुट की इनपुट की प्राइस सेम है, अब यहाँ देख रहे हैं कि आपका मान लो किसी एक इनपुट की प्राइस वेरी कर रही है और अदर दूसरे इनपुट की प्राइस फिक्स है। ठीक है, हमने अज्यूम किया यहाँ पे कि आपका जो कैपिटल है, कैपिटल की प्राइस चेंज हो रही है, कैपिटल महंगा हो रहा है, बट देयर इज नो चेंज इन द लेबर प्राइसेस। ठीक है, इनिशियली देयर वाज ऑन कॉस्ट कर्व आइसो कॉस्ट लाइन C1। ठीक है, जब C1, ठीक है, फिर क्या हुआ, C1 की प्राइस बढ़ गई। ठीक है, मतलब आपका कैपिटल की प्राइस बढ़ गई, तो आपका जो अलोकेशन है, प्राइस बढ़ेगी, इसका अलोकेशन कम हो जाएगा। ठीक है, बिकॉज ऑफ इंक्रीज इन प्राइस, दिस C1, this point, this particular point, this point will shift here to this point। okay, बट आपका ये इन दोनों केस में देखिए आप, ये आपका लेबर अलोकेशन सेम ही है, बट टू प्रोड्यूस 1 मिलियन टन्स ऑफ 1 मिलियन टीवी पर यूनिट, क्या अभी इस C2 लाइन पे, C2 आइसो कॉस्ट लाइन पे आपका एक ऑप्टिमल पॉइंट मिल रहा है? नहीं मिल रहा है। तो क्या हम क्या करेंगे कि ये जो C2 है, इसी के हम पैरेलल एक आइसो कॉस्ट लाइन और ड्रॉ करेंगे। ठीक है, मीन्स यहाँ रिसोर्स एडजस्टमेंट हो रहा है। रिसोर्स एडजस्टमेंट होगा, जो फर्म है वो रिसोर्स एडजस्टमेंट करेगा, बिटवीन अलोकेट करेगा टू प्रोड्यूस सेम क्वांटिटी ऑफ टीवी और आउटपुट। ओके, तो ये जो C2 कर्व है, इसका हम पहले एक कर्व ड्रॉ करेंगे, विच इज योर C3 कर्व, विच इज नाउ इन टेंजेंट टू योर आइसोकॉन्ट लाइन एट पॉइंट B। दिस पॉइंट B is your now the optimal combination of your optimal minimum cost point, where he is investing L2 amount of labor and K2 amount of capital. Initially he was using L1 amount of labor and K1 amount of capital. You see, because of increase in price of capital, this capital allocation has reduced while the labor allocation has increased. Okay, so यदि हम इसी चीज को हम देखा जाए, तो because of increase in price of one of the component of price cost, you see the total cost curve will shift upward. Okay, it has shifted upward. फिर क्या होगा, थर्ड केस, if the price of both the inputs capital and labor, if they change proportionately। हमने पहला केस देखा कि आपका इनपुट प्राइस सेम है। ठीक है, सेकंड केस देखा हमने कि आपका एक इनपुट की प्राइस चेंज हो रही है। हम थर्ड केस देख रहे हैं कि दोनों इनपुट की प्राइस चेंज हो रही है, लेकिन प्रोपोर्शनलिटी चेंज हो रही है। ठीक है, तो उस केस में क्या होगा कि आपका जो आइसो कॉस्ट है वो चेंज नहीं होगा, क्योंकि आपका जो अलोकेशन है वो ऑलमोस्ट सेम रहेगा, बट यू हैव टू इंक्रीज योर क्वांटिटी ऑफ दिस इनपुट्स, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट योर कॉस्ट विल गो अप। ठीक है, फॉर एग्जांपल हम अज्यूम करते हैं 10% प्राइस में चेंज हुआ है, इंक्रीज हुई, 10% प्राइस चेंज हुई है इनपुट और आउटपुट की, दोनों इनपुट्स की, लेबर और कैपिटल की, बिकॉज ऑफ इनिशियल प्राइस थी TC1। ओके, TC इनिशियल प्राइस थी TC1, अब नई प्राइस होगी 10% इंक्रीज इन TC1, मीन्स 1.1 TC1। ठीक है, 10% ये हो गया इसका, हाँ, TC1 का 10%, 1.1 TC1 हो गया। तो यदि हम नई प्राइस जो होगी आपको, बिकॉज ऑफ इंक्रीज इन प्राइस ऑफ बोथ द इनपुट्स, ठीक है, 10% इंक्रीज हुआ, तो आपका टोटल कॉस्ट कर्व होगा, अगेन इट विल गो अप, यू सी इट इज गोइंग अप। ठीक है, तो हमने 3 केसेस देखे अभी, जहां पे एक फर्स्ट केस में आपका ओनली आपका आउटपुट की क्वांटिटी चेंज हो रही है, बट आपका इनपुट प्राइस सेम है। सेकंड केस में आपका आउटपुट सेम है, बट आपका एक इनपुट की प्राइस चेंज हो रही है। थर्ड केस में अगेन आपका आउटपुट सेम है, आपके दोनों इनपुट की प्राइस चेंज हो रही है। ठीक है, तो सिमिलरली विच जो हमने पहले डिस्कस किया था इस जगह पे, कि हम लोग कैसे टोटल कॉस्ट कर्व से हम कैसे अपना वेरिएबल कॉस्ट, एवरेज कॉस्ट एंड मार्जिनल कॉस्ट ड्रॉ करते हैं, सेम चीज यहाँ पे लॉन्ग रन कॉस्ट कर्व के लिए डिस्कस किया हुआ है, सेम चीज। एवरेज कॉस्ट इज इक्वल टू टोटल कॉस्ट डिवाइडेड बाय क्वांटिटी ऑफ आउटपुट, and marginal cost is equal to change in total cost divided by change in quantity of output. Okay, so this is the same thing which we have discussed earlier. Okay, now coming to the relationship between long run and marginal cost curve is, again, from this graph there is no need to mug up all these things. You only need to remember this diagram, because of this diagram your labor will be reduced to more than half, and your capacity to reproduce in examination will increase, and your accuracy will also increase. So इससे आपकी गलतियां भी कम होगी। यदि आपको कुछ डाउट कंफ्यूजन होता है, आपकी गलतियां कम होगी एग्जाम में यदि आप ये डायग्राम्स याद रखते हैं। ठीक है, तो सिमिलरली ये जो डिस्कशन है ऑलरेडी मैंने पहले भी किया हुआ था, ठीक है, पिछली स्लाइड्स में। सेम चीज यहाँ पे है, जब तक एवरेज कॉस्ट का ज़्यादा है, एवरेज कॉस्ट ज़्यादा है मार्जिनल कॉस्ट से, इसी एवरेज कॉस्ट इज more than this marginal cost, ठीक है। Your if average cost is decreasing, the quantity is increasing. Okay, जैसे आपका एवरेज कॉस्ट डिक्रीज हो रही है और क्वांटिटी इंक्रीज हो रही है, आपका जो मार्जिनल कॉस्ट है वो आपका एवरेज कॉस्ट से कम है। बट एट द पॉइंट ए योर एवरेज कॉस्ट इज इक्वल टू मार्जिनल कॉस्ट। ओके, एट पॉइंट ए दोनों ना बढ़ रहा है ना घट रहा है इस पॉइंट पे, ठीक है, दोनों सेम रेट से ग्रो कर रहे हैं। बट एट द थर्ड पॉइंट योर मार्जिनल कॉस्ट इज इंक्रीजिंग एट अ हायर रेट देन योर एवरेज कॉस्ट। ओके, सो ये रिलेशनशिप है। देन कमिंग टू इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ स्केल एंड रिटर्न टू स्केल। रिटर्न टू स्केल क्या होता है? रिटर्न टू स्केल RTS, रिटर्न टू स्केल इक्वल टू परसेंटेज चेंज इन आउटपुट divided by percentage change in all the inputs. So you see here I have said percentage in all the inputs. It means I am talking about the long run. There is no return to scale in short run, because in short run there are some inputs which remains fixed, but in long run there are no inputs which remain fixed. All inputs are variable. That's why we say return to scale is belongs to the long run analysis of our cost. Okay, but not in short run. So in short run it is not sensible to calculate this RTS. ठीक है। So economies of scale is the characteristics of production in which average cost decreases as output goes up. You see here in x-axis we have output, and this is your average cost curve. Okay, this is your average cost curve. So जैसे जैसे आपका आउटपुट बढ़ रहा है इनिशियल, you see you concentrate on this first just 1 minute. Okay, now you see here in sorry. Up to point Q dash. Okay, Q dash. In this portion, if you see that जैसे आपका आउटपुट इंक्रीज हो रहा है, आपका जो एवरेज कॉस्ट है वो कम हो रही है, ठीक है। इट मीन्स आपका टोटल कॉस्ट भी कम हो रहा है इसमें, ठीक है। इट मीन्स कि आपका जो इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ स्केल है इस जोन में यू आर रनिंग इन द इकोनॉमिक्स ऑफ स्केल जोन, ठीक है। बट आफ्टर दिस जोन क्यू डबल डैश क्या हो रहा है? आप जैसे आपका आउटपुट इंक्रीज हो रहा है, आपका एवरेज कॉस्ट इज इंक्रीजिंग। ओके, इट मीन्स दैट आपको एक एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए आपको ज्यादा अमाउंट ऑफ कॉस्ट इनकर करना पड़ रहा है। और सिमिलरली इन फर्स्ट जोन आपको एक एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए आपको कॉस्ट आपको कम यूज करना पड़ रहा है, मतलब आपका कम कॉस्ट जा रहा है, ठीक है। तो इन फर्स्ट जोन, इफ आई से दिस इज द फर्स्ट जोन, दिस इज द सेकंड जोन, and this is the third zone. In first zone, you can see economies of scale because for producing an extra amount of output, you have to invest less. In second zone you need not आपका जो cost है वो average cost है वो fix है, मतलब it is constant, it is not changing. आप आपको x1 x2 x3 आपको चाहे आप x1 अमाउंट ऑफ क्वांटिटी प्रोड्यूस करें या आप x2 प्रोड्यूस करें या x3 प्रोड्यूस करें, आपको सेम ही कॉस्ट करनी है. तो दिस इज योर सेकेंड जोन. इन थर्ड जोन, टू प्रोड्यूस extra quantity, let's say x4 or x5. So producing for to produce x4 quantity of output in zone 3, you see you have to incur some cost AC5, again to produce AC4. To produce extra unit of output quantity of output in the zone 3, you need additional cost AC5, so which is more than your previous cost, previous unit of cost which you have incurred. तो आपका एक्स्ट्रा यूनिट प्रोड्यूस करने के लिए यहाँ पे आपको एडिशनल कॉस्ट पे करना पड़ रहा है, एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट पे करना पड़ रहा है जो बढ़ रहा है, आपको पिछली कॉस्ट से ज्यादा है. सो इन दिस केस this is your this economies of scale has come into play. Okay, this economies of scale has come into the picture. So अब ये जो जोन है, ठीक है, इसको ये जो स्पेस है बिटवीन Q डैश एंड Q डबल डैश, it is because of this reserve capacity which we will come in next coming slides. Because हमने अब तक ये देखा था कि आपका जो एवरेज कॉस्ट कर्व होता है यू शेप होता है, यू शेप, बट दिस इज योर शॉसर शेप. ठीक है, दिस इज योर शॉसर शेप. सो ये जो यू शेप कर्व है ये ट्रेडिशनल थ्योरी ऑफ कॉस्ट है. ठीक है, ट्रेडिशनल थ्योरी. and this is your modern theory. In modern theory, your average cost curve is Chaucer shape, not U shape, unlike which is there in traditional theory. So ये इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछ लेते हैं कि in modern theory of neoclassical theory of cost, the shape of average cost curve would be. So you have to answer it is Chaucer shape. Okay. Again, coming to the measuring the extent of economies of scale. So here, the output elasticity of total cost is equal to change in total cost divided by change in percentage in change in quantity. Okay, the percentage change in total cost per 1% change in output. Okay, so you see, it is like elasticity concept. Elasticity, आपने demand elasticity के बारे में पढ़ा होगा. Demand elasticity क्या है? कि percentage percentage change in demand elasticity is equal to percentage change in quantity by percentage change in price. ठीक है, डिमांड इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ प्राइस. तो सेम यहाँ पे आपका आउटपुट इलास्टिसिटी ऑफ कॉस्ट, ओके, विच इज इक्वल टू योर चेंज इन टोटल कॉस्ट डिवाइड बाय परसेंटेज चेंज इन टोटल कॉस्ट डिवाइड बाय परसेंटेज चेंज इन आउटपुट. ठीक है, और आप ये देखिए कि change in TC by change in Q, change in TC by change in Q is equal to your marginal cost. Similarly, change in TC by Q, no, TC by Q is your average cost. So it can be written as marginal cost by average cost. So this is your elasticity of total cost. In long run, again in long run, your average cost curve is envelope curve. You see here in this picture, this blue color curves are your shortened cost curve, shortened average cost curve, and this green curve is your long run average cost curve. Okay, so it is intersecting this, it is touching all this shortened cost curve at their tangent. It is tangent to this shortened cost curve, and when you join these points, okay, so it will be your long run cost curve, which is enveloping all your short term cost curve. That's why it is called planning curve also, and envelope curve also. So these kind of questions they ask in objective kind of questions, objective types of multiple choice questions. Okay, so so you have to remember these things also. Now coming to the cost function is very important from the point of view of mains examination. If you're writing ARS mains, the cost function is very important. At least you should know how to express these cost functions. Okay, cost function इसको कैसे express करना है, specifications क्या क्या होंगे, ठीक है. But for analysis purpose you should be aware कि कौन सा cost function हमें कब use करना है, ठीक है. So I am giving a very brief about all these cost functions. Which can be useful for you in your studies in PhD also, as well as for your examination also. A total cost function is a mathematical relationship between how total cost vary with the factors that influence the cost. Okay, तो आप यहाँ देखिए total cost जो आपका है, total cost है it is a function of output. जैसे आपका output बढ़ेगा आपका more cost लगेगी, technology change होगा तो technology change will also affect your cost. When the price of factors which are involved in the production process, it will also influence your cost. Okay, so this is your long run cost function. इसमें कोई भी factor आपका fix नहीं है, ठीक है. But in short run cost function, there are some fixed factors also there. Okay, we are denoting that with K star here. Okay, so in short run cost function, it is a short run cost is a function of output, technology, price of factors, and some fixed factors. Okay, if you have to specify the cost function, if I see that the cost function is linear cost function. Okay, the cost is directly proportional to your output. जैसे आपका output increase हो रहा है, आपका cost भी increase हो रहा है. There is some direct relationship between. Okay, यदि आपको इस कॉस्ट का दे रखा है, ये वैल्यू दे रखी है, आपको यहाँ से आप टोटल कॉस्ट, आपको एवरेज कॉस्ट निकालनी है, तो आप टोटल कॉस्ट डिवाइड बाय यूनिट ऑफ आउटपुट से डिवाइड करेंगे, सी बाय एक्स करने से आपको क्या मिलेगा, और आपको मिलेगा एवरेज वेरिएबल कॉस्ट. सो इफ आई विल डिवाइड b1 x1 by x plus mu by x. Mu is here render very well, so it will not come here in picture here. So your average variable cost will be x1 से x कट जाए, ये भी x1 से x1 कट जाएगा, तो it will be b1. Similarly your marginal cost, तो delta change in total cost by delta change in x means this is your slope. Marginal cost is slope of total cost curve, which is again equal to b1. Okay, so ये लीनियर कॉस्ट कर्व है. इस कॉस्ट कर्व में आपका एवरेज कॉस्ट एंड मार्जिनल कॉस्ट बोथ विल रिमेन कांस्टेंट एट ऑल द लेवल ऑफ आउटपुट. ओके, तो ये लीनियर कॉस्ट फंक्शन है, और ये एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आपको कैलकुलेट करने पूछ सकता है मे बी, बट इन रियल लाइफ देयर इज वेरी लेस लाइकली दैट इट इज यूजफुल. ठीक है. Similarly, आपका this is your quadratic cost function. Quadratic cost function, cost is a function of output x plus output square. ठीक है. So when you calculate the average variable cost, you have to divide the total cost by number of unit of outputs. So it will be ABC equal to C by X. When you solve this equation, when you divide this equation, you will get from this value b1 x divided by x, you will get b1, then b2 x square by x, you will get b2 x. Okay, so this is your average variable cost. Then coming to the marginal cost, then you have to take delta change and delta c by delta x. So delta c by delta x equal to b1 delta x by delta x, it will give 1, so it is b1 again, and this is exponents, it will come, it would be coming to the outside, so it will be 2 b2 by x. Okay, so this is your marginal cost curve, and this shape of curve is, it is increasing. Okay, your the cost curve is increasing. It implies ABC and MC at all the increasing ABC and MC at all the level of output, because आपका total cost is increasing also. ठीक है. Third is your cubical cost function. This is your cubical cost function which we have dealt earlier, and this is very commonly stated because it gives you the increasing returns and decreasing returns at the same time. Okay, तो इसको हम स्पेसिफाई करते हैं C equal to bx1 minus bx2 b2x square plus b3x cube plus some random term. Okay, जब आप इस इक्वेशन को सॉल्व करेंगे एवरेज वेरिएबल कॉस्ट के लिए, तो इट विल गिव यू x b1 from this coefficient, then b2 x from this value, and b3 x square from this value. Okay, so this is your average variable cost, but your marginal cost will be b1 2 b2 x 3 b3 x square. Okay, so you have to solve, you should know some basics of mathematics also, this basics of basic mathematics to compute the average variable cost and average total cost also. Okay, it implies that u-shape and u-shape ABC and marginal cost, इससे यदि आप ये टोटल कॉस्ट कर रहे हैं, यदि आप इससे मार्जिनल कॉस्ट कर और एवरेज वेरिएबल कॉस्ट कर निकालेंगे, it will give a U shape which we have done earlier. Okay, I think I am about to finish my first part, and I think I am on time. Okay, so again the same thing which we have discussed here, same thing. मॉडर्न हमने अब तक देखा था कि आपका जो टोटल, यदि मुझे यहाँ कर्व ड्रॉ करना पड़े, दिस इज योर माय एवरेज फिक्स कॉस्ट, दिस इज रेक्टेंगुलर हाइपरबोला इन शॉर्ट रन, but in long run this is in traditional theory, not in short run. This is my traditional theory. This it is a short run rectangular hyperbola curve, average fixed cost curve. Similarly, in long run, this is modern theory of cost. It is also a rectangular hyperbola, but there is some provision for adjustment also. Okay, for example, to produce xb amount of capital of output, the firm can also go for using more of the inputs, like over time it can employ some resources. Okay, in that case it will be little higher than this original curve. Okay, so it is again a rectangular hyperbola, and it is not like that its shape is exactly like this. It can vary, but it is more or less it is rectangular hyperbola also. And this is your average variable cost curve. Okay, in short, in traditional theory we have seen it was U shape, but here it is your saucer shape in the modern theory of cost. Similarly, the total cost curve was also U shape here. It is not exactly U shape here in modern theory of cost. It is like V shape. Okay, it is like V shape. So there are different kinds of curve, but there are some questions. Then you may get some questions on these kinds of curve in neoclassical theory of cost. Okay, so you should be aware of these kinds of curve, and this in this space, this space is called reserve capacity, or called plant reserve capacity. Okay, plant reserve capacity. See here, I already said this is your reserve capacity, but this second graph is about the modern cost theory, and this is about this traditional cost theory. In traditional cost theory, this is your minimum point, the most efficient point where your cost is minimum, and before this point, you see the cost is higher, and any point in between before this is your excess capacity, plant excess capacity, but in the modern theory there is no excess capacity, but it is the reserve capacity, which can be used gainfully used by the entrepreneurs, the firms, to have some adjustment in their production process. Okay, so these things is difference between reserve capacity and excess capacity. Again, does profit maximization implies cost minimization? Yes, it implies, because you see, in particular, profit maximizing output choice implies cost minimizing input choices. Or in short, profit maximization implies cost minimization. To develop this point, we could study the profit maximization problem of price taking form in two ways. First, the input choice method, and other is output choice method. In input choice method, we assume that output is same and outputs remain same, and we have to choose a different combination of inputs to produce a given level of output. Okay, but in output choice method, uh, sorry, in input choice method, we choose input and then we decide what kind of how much of output can we produce to get a minimum price. But in output choice method, output and then choosing, first we choose output and then choose inputs to quantity to minimize total cost. Okay, here in output choice method, we first choose output. Okay, and then we decide on the cost. Then we choose inputs to minimize the cost. But in input choice method, first we choose inputs and then we decide output, how much output we should produce to have maximum profit or have a minimum cost. Okay, and similarly, this output function can be written as maximum. This pi represents the profit. If we assume that there are two inputs employed for the production of one output called Q, which is the function of two inputs, labor and revenue, minus total cost. This is your normal formula. Total revenue is equal to price of output into quantity of output minus price of input into the cost of inputs, quantity of inputs used. Okay, same thing, it is written here. You see, your profit, which is a function of your inputs, two inputs, which is equal to price into this is your quantity. You see, quantity of output is a function of labor and capital. We assume that two inputs only used for this producing one unit of output. So price into your quantity minus, here we are using two inputs. One is labor, other is capital. So wage is price for labor and rent is price for capital. So it is, if we add, it can be also written like that. Profit is equal to price of output into quantity. Quantity can be written as function of labor and capital minus price of labor into quantity of labor plus price of capital into quantity of labor capital. Okay, so this is your profit maximization condition. A profit maximization firm will choose its input so that every additional output the firm gets from every additional dollar spent on labor is equal to the reciprocal of market price of labor. Okay, and the additional output the firm gets for every additional dollar spent on capital is also equal to reciprocal of market price of capital. So this is the same thing which is stated here. Okay, for those who are those who appear for mains, the Shepherd's lemma is very important. Many a times questions appear from the Shepherd lemma. So you should know what the Shepherd lemma is, its meaning exactly. So Shepherd lemma is it states that the rate of change of long run cost function with respect to input price is equal to corresponding input demand function. तो इसी बात को हमने लिखा हुआ है, rate of change of total output, total cost function it is cost function with respect to input price of labor is equal to input demand function of labor. ठीक है, ये जो फर्स्ट इक्वेशन है, total change in total cost function with respect to the price of labor is equal to labor demand function. And similarly, the change in total cost function with respect to the price of capital is equal to capital demand function. This is only Shepherd lemma, and this is very simple. Okay, so you should know these things. कि ये होता क्या है. Okay, so here we finished our first part, this profit maximization and cost minimization. Okay, I think you might have learned something here. It could be useful for you. Okay, now I am stopping my stop sharing my screen. If you have any doubt, you can ask, please. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir has covered all the concept of cost in this session. I request all the participants, if someone has any query regarding this session, please ask to sir.
Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask. Maybe for examination point of view, or from this for knowing the things also, you can ask. There is no issue in that. And thing is that we will also I will also share the reference books also, from where you will get all the proofs also, Shepherd lemma and duality and all kinds of things, which is important again for the errors point of view. So if no more questions, we will move to the second part of this session. I think my time is till 12:30. Is it? Is it, Praveen? It is till 12:30.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now I will switch to the second part. I think now the participants would be more interested to listen to me. Till now it was a boring lecture. Okay, I think. Okay, students, are you with me here, or you have muted me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Hello. Unable to get your voice clearly. Yeah. If anyone is asking something, is there anyone who is asking something? Okay. Then we'll move to our second part, the strategies for ARS in agricultural economics. The strategies are very simple and easy to follow, and there is no strategy for ARS to get through ARS. Only thing is that you require constant motivation to prepare for the study, for the examination, and you should know the examination before you attend this examination, because you see ARS examination is it is a technical examination, unlike some other examination like Indian Economic Services or UPSC or banking examination or whatever other examination we are students are writing. So it is a purely technical examination. So we should be very thorough with the technicalities of the subject, because only your technicalities will be tested through the examination. Okay, your knowledge definitely will be tested in examination, and in interview also your knowledge will be given more focus than your technical, because already in mains examination and prelims examination, they know that you have sufficient amount of knowledge or technical information to get through the ARS services. But in interview, they ask some real life situations or real life problems for which a scientist or an economist is responsible. Okay, so here in this second part of this session, we will discuss how to prepare for this ARS in agriculture economics in particular, and some of the portion of this syllabus in agriculture economics also coincides with the portion for ABM, agribusiness management. So I think some of the students, those who asked to give special emphasis on ABM, they may also be benefited out of this session. Okay, so I think most of the syllabus for economics and ABM is almost same, but there are some variations. Okay, so I will try to give more emphasis on economics point of view, because my area is in agriculture economics, and I can give more. I can speak more about the agriculture economics, what to study and what not to study, but certainly not on agribusiness management. Okay. So the few basic questions about the ARS examination. The first thing, the nature of services. It is purely technical services. So it is not an administrative services or not clerical services. So it's technical services, and here throughout your services, your technical knowledge will be tested. You will be given, you will be involved in different projects. You will be involved in different kind of tasks. You will be involved in different kinds of projects of national importance or international importance. Okay, but thing is that in all the stages of your services, you will be tested. Your technical knowledge will be tested throughout your service. So be thorough with the technicalities if you really want to come into ARS services. Thing is that if it is technical service, what it requires, does it require more of the facts and less of the concept, or more concept and less facts, or concepts and methods? So technical aspects of this examination requires you the candidate to have thorough knowledge of concepts and methods. Okay, but you need not remember the facts. Okay, because they may not be much of use in service, but sometimes they can be useful for examination. Like there are some facts about the current situations, okay, or past achievements that can be tested and that can be asked in your interview, but definitely not in mains examination. In prelims, they can be, but they can be asked, but weightage of such kind of questions will be very less, and that can be ignored. But in interview, they can ask some of the facts also. Okay, so but focus should be, if someone wants to come in agriculture research services, focus should be on more on methodologies and concepts. Many of the students, they might think that what should I read? Should I read the current affair like other aspirants for the different competitive exams? Like some are preparing for maybe administrative services. Some of you may be preparing for banking, and for that you are reading not only the technical subjects but also the current affair. But for ARS, there is no need to read the current affair because it is purely technical services, and it does not needs you to know the current affair. But the current affair part is really good to articulate the things when you write some research papers or any of the reports. Then these things are really useful. And what I need to excel in the examination, to get through in the examination, ARS service examination, ARS examination, or ARS net examination, you should be having thorough subject knowledge. The thing is that since the examination is of prelims, mains, and interview kind of thing, in mains, you should know the art of representation. You should be very thorough in representation of the what you are trying to write, and you should be very prompt in time management. I know some of my colleagues and my seniors also, and some of my friends also, those who are very good in subject knowledge. They are very analytical. They are very thorough in methodological concepts, methodological domain and the concept. But since they lack the art of representation, they could not get into the service. Okay, and time management is also very important. I have some of my friends, those who are good at representation also and having good subject knowledge, but very poor in time management.
हा कर व्यवस्थित स्टडी करून चालले जा त्यांच्याकडे.
Yeah,
Mr. Praveen, please mute all
you
participants.
can mute, please. If you really
yes,
want
sir,
to,
yes.
if you want to excel in the examination, you should have to make a balance between the knowledge, your representation, and time management. And so these are the basic things about the ARS. It is technical services, and you should be very thorough about the theory part for examination point of view. The theory part, the methodological part, in actual, in particular, you should read the textbooks and journals, not the current affair, and you should make a balance between subject knowledge, art of representation, and time management to get through in examination. Okay. Now coming to the syllabus of this service, economics, AR services for agriculture economics. Here you have to be thorough with economic theories, agriculture development, economics and agriculture development, public finance and international economics, farm management, agriculture production economics, agriculture finance and cooperation, agriculture marketing, agriculture project analysis, and research and methodology and econometrics. So there are total nine units to be covered to prepare for the examination. And in due course of time, in due course of journey in this session, I will share which reference book you should follow to get the subject knowledge on this topics. Okay, but I will always suggest the aspirants to follow the latest syllabus of the examination. Maybe there may be some one or two topics maybe getting deleted or added in due course of time. So you should be aware of those things, and accordingly you should prepare. So thing is that you should be very thorough with the subject also, but and syllabus also, because once you know your syllabus, you'll be very confident in going to the exactly path which you have to follow. You see, there are a lot of reference books available in the market, lot of information which is dumped into internet. Okay, since economics is a very dynamic subject, there are a lot of information, and there is information dumped on internet, and you should be very choosy in which reference material you should have to choose. Okay, because you have time constraint with you. In limited time, you have to prepare for the examination, and you cannot read all the things. So you should be very choosy while selecting a book for preparation of this examination. Okay, and covering all the topics. So coming to the unit first, this economic theory. This economic theory consists of basic economic concepts like nature, scope of economics, methods in economics like deductive method, inductive method. Okay, the economic systems, the capitalistic system, socialist system. Okay, like that. So you should be thorough with all the basic economic concepts. Maybe in prelims there can be some questions. I don't say there would be questions, but there can be questions. So you should be, since you are preparing for an economics field, you should be aware of these basic economic concepts. Then coming to theory of consumer behavior, here you should know about the consumer behavior, how consumer behaves when he interact with the market forces of demand and supply, given some constraints like income constraints, okay, and his choices. So you should be thorough with about consumer behavior. The theory of consumer behavior consists of cardinal utility approach, ordinal utility approach, indifference curve analysis, income and substitution effect, derivation of demand, all these things which I have listed here. It is a your syllabus in entire syllabus, and theory of firms are also, it is also important, because in economic system, consumer are not, although consumers are the king, but they are not the sole player in the market. There are firms also, though, which are important player in the market. So you should be thorough about the theory of firm, how to maximize profit, how to minimize the cost, till what point of time a firm has to produce. Right? Okay, like these things. You should be very thorough about these conditions. Okay, about again, then you have to be very thorough about the market structures. There are different kind of market structures like perfect competition, uh, monopoly, oligopoly, monopolistic competition, imperfect competition. Means all these things you should be very thorough. And theory of income distribution, income factor and factor share, like general equilibrium theory, then social welfare function, market failure, Pareto optimality conditions. So these things are important in the unit first, which is your economic theory. So for reading economic theory, there are a lot of books. H.L. Ahuja is also there, which many of the aspirants may be following. I am not saying that is a wrong book. That is a very good book. But you can also prefer this modern microeconomics by A. Kotsianis. It is a very standard book. It can be useful even if you are preparing for Indian economic services also. It can be very useful in that case also. So I will suggest this. You should refer modern microeconomics by A. Kotsianis. Further, this microeconomic theory by Walter Nicholson and Christopher Sinder. You can also refer this book. This book is available online. It is free of cost. You can download this book. If anyone wants this particular book, they can mail me or message me. I can forward this book to them. Okay. So, but in microeconomic theory, apart from the concepts, you should be very thorough about the mathematical expressions which is required. Why I am saying mathematical expression? Because you see, when you are writing in the examination, mathematical expression reduce your drudgery. It reduces your labor. When I say the cost is a function of output, technology, fixed factor, price of factors. I write all these things in one equation only. Okay. So, and giving all the information. But when I have to write it in the words, I may sometimes it may happen that I may exceed the word limit and may not cover entire topic. So you should be very thorough about this mathematical expressions also. Definitely, it reduces your time in writing your examination and helps you in time management. And further, it helps to write your answer precisely in word limit. Okay. Other thing is that you should be very thorough with all the diagrams. Microeconomics, there are a lot of diagrams. You should be very thorough with all the diagrams. You should be very clear when which curve intersect which other curve at which point, and what its implications. Okay. And what is there in x-axis, what is there in y-axis. Okay, so you should be very thorough. In microeconomics, the mathematical expressions, theory, and your diagram. If you are thorough with all these things, you will get 100% marks in math. If there is any questions in microeconomics in mains examination, definitely you will be very thorough. You will get 100% marks. Other thing is that you should know about some derivations, small derivations, not a very big derivation, because you see, even when a question paper setter sets the question, he or she is aware that there is very limited time with the aspirants to write this examination. So they only gives the questions which can be done in 1 or 2 minutes of time. Kind of derivation or any calculation they give like that, it can be solved within 1 or 2 minutes of time. So you should focus on those kind of derivations or questions, calculations, which is given in this modern microeconomics by Kotsianis. when I was writing this examination 2015, some questions have appeared from this calculation portion, and they were very simple questions. So the thing is that in microeconomic theory, you should what you have to remember, you have to know the concept, you have to know the utility of the concept, you have to know the mathematical expression, if any. Okay, and you have to know some conditions. This is what is profit maximization conditions, profit minimization condition, okay, cost minimization condition, not profit, cost minimization condition, profit maximization condition, and different kind of conditions are there. You should be aware about those things. You should be thorough about the diagrams also. Okay, and if you want to learn economics, you can also refer this microeconomic theory by Walter Nicholson and Christopher Sinder. This is a very good book. Okay, and for the macroeconomics, generally people also follow this H.L. Ahuja book. That is also very good. But I would suggest you can follow the Gardner-Ackley or Edward Shapiro. In a microeconomic theory, they are very limited topics, and thing is that the questions, once you are thorough with this topic, with all these topics, you will there is 100% surety that you will get around full marks, because they are very simple topics, like inflation. Okay, what is inflation? How you measure inflation? And what are the types of inflation? And what are the tools with the government to control inflation? Like monetary policies are there, fiscal policies are there. So in which condition these fiscal and monetary policies are used in what context? Okay. Other thing is that you should know about the consumption function, Keynesian, post-Keynesian theories of income determination, theory of employment, consumption, investment, and saving function like accelerator, multipliers. Okay. And ISLM curve. ISLM curve is very important from the point of view of your mains examination. Again, the Laffer curve is there. Laffer curve is there, and your Philip curve is also there in employment, unemployment thing. So you should be thorough about some of the curves which are given in your macroeconomic portion. For this, in these two books, Gardner-Ackley and Edward Shapiro, macroeconomic theory by Gardner-Ackley and macroeconomic analysis by Edward Shapiro. This Edward Shapiro book, the upper one, language is very easy and it is easy to understand. But in Gardner-Ackley book, the book written by Gardner-Ackley, language is somewhat difficult, not very difficult, but somewhat difficult as compared to your Edward Shapiro. But I would suggest you to follow this Edward Shapiro. This very simple book, very simple and easy to understand, because the author has tried to illustrate all the concept through a very basic understanding of the concepts, and through different diagrams and step-by-step manuals. So you can refer this Edward Shapiro, but if someone would like to prefer this Gardner-Ackley, they can also. And those who think that H.L. Ahuja is also a good book, they can also prefer this H.L. Ahuja. But thing is that H.L. Ahuja is a very voluminous book, while these two books are not that much voluminous, but can be referred to get a clarity on all the concepts. Okay. Now coming to the economic and agricultural development, many times questions appear from this economic development, this agriculture and economic development portion, like Lewis theory. Okay. Then the stage of economic growth, okay, growth models, differences between growth and development, all these kind of things. So to refer this, there are different books in the market. People also refer M.L. Chingan also. M.L. Chingan is also very good book written by some Indian author. But thing is that the illustration given in this economic development by Todaro and Smith, this book, it is also available online. You can Google about the economic development by Todaro and Smith, and you will get this book free of cost. illustration given in this book is very good, easy to understand. And thing is that whenever you are reading these things, so you have to play a game. Okay, you have to play a game. So in economics, when you read about game theory, so game theory uh, helps you to make a strategy. Okay, to play a game. So this examination is your game, and you have to uh, question paper setter, your evaluator, and you. Uh, You three people are the player in this game. But the major player are you, those who are appearing in examination, and those who are uh, correcting your answer sheets. So they are two major players. But the first player, question paper setter, he already played his game, played his part. So when you are preparing, you have to play a game between the question paper setter and you. But when you are writing examination, you have to play a game between the evaluator and you. Okay, so when you are playing a game with your question paper setter, you have what you have to do, remember at the point of time is that when you prepare, you think you should have to think, if I could have been the question paper setter, what kind of questions I would have been asked, I would be asking to my the aspirants, which can be answered within a 5 minutes or can be answered in 150 or 200 words. Okay, these things you have to and make a list of all the questions, write it down somewhere, and focus on those questions. It is a good question bank that you will at the end of your preparation, you will reading a book or reading a topic, reading a unit, you will be you will have around 50 or 60 questions from that particular unit with you. Okay, so you should know the pattern of examination also, that which kind of questions can be asked in 2 marks, which kind of questions can be asked for 5 marks, and which kind of questions can be asked for 10 marks. So you should be very thorough about all these things. But before preparing examination, you should be thorough about the pattern. The pattern, 2 marks questions are there, 5 marks questions are there, 10 marks questions are there. And what is the word limit in 5 marks question? What is the word limit in 10 marks question? And when you prepare for the when you prepare a topic, you extract some question out of that topic. Okay, so this topic can be asked in 5 marks. It cannot be asked in 10 marks. Or this topic is suitable for 10 marks. It cannot be asked for 2 marks. Okay, so you should make a list of all the important topics. For reading this economic and agriculture development, I will suggest you to follow this economic development book by Todaro and Smith. It's a very good book. Language is very easy to understand, and illustrations are very good, colorful illustrations, and there are some key points also. So, which is useful for you in writing the examination, because you see there are some discussion, and at the bottom there is one box where summary is written. So this summary can be used for you while you write your while you draft your answers from a particular topic. Okay. Now coming to the agriculture finance and international economics. Although for agriculture finance and international economics, for international economics there are different books. This Chen is also one of the authors who has written on international economics. And for public finance, there are different books. But I would suggest to go for this introduction to agricultural social sciences by Subhash Chandra. It is a very concise book, actually, concise book for all the economics topics, which can be appeared in examination. So you can refer this book. It would save your time. It would save your time, and it is written so simply that in one reading only you can understand. You will understand all the topics. Okay. So in international economics, there are some important topics like factor endowment theory, balance of payment, legality of theorem, paradox, the product cycle, principle of comparative advantage. These things are important, and many of the times questions directly appear from this topic. Okay, and thing is that in this book, these topics are covered so crisply. Even if it comes for 50 words or 5 marks, 100 words or 5 marks, you can write it. Even if it comes for 10 marks, you can write it. So the beauty of this book is that all the topics has been covered very precisely uh, and in very easy language. Okay. So when coming to the fourth part, the public finance and there are some other books also for public finance. This Richard Musgrave and Pabiji Musgrave and Musgrave. This is a very good book. When one would like to learn about the public finance, but thing is that for public finance, there are other literature available in the internet also. There is no need to purchase this book if it is not available online. I'm not sure whether it is available online or not, but I am very sure that all the topics like budget, revenue, expenditure, okay, public finance, all these things, fiscal policy, monetary policy, taxation, all these things are available internet, because you see nowadays many of the coachings, those who are giving coaching for the UPSC, they because the public finance portion is coinciding with that economics portion of UPSC. So many of the coachings, they also provide the notes on these things. You need not get the exact notes, but you can refer the YouTube lectures from those websites, coaching material, which is available free of cost. You can also refer this economic survey to get a understanding, but it is not required for your examination. But for understanding, you can refer the economic survey or your budget highlights also, or discussion on budget, which many of the economists are doing nowadays in YouTube channel. So, but thing is that you should be thorough about the concepts. You should know what to write and what not to write. Okay. So in public finance, if you don't have this book, there is no need to worry. If it is not available in your library, there is no need to worry. All these topics are available in internet, in public domain, free of cost. So you can refer those also. Now coming to the international economics, I said about Cherumilam, one book, but International Economics by Paul Krugman. It is, I think, this book is available free of cost. And the thing is that you can also learn from him. Okay. And Paul Krugman is one of the Nobel Prize winner also. So you can also refer his book. And thing is that it is also very simple. Language is very simple. But thing is that you should not over rely on these books, because they discuss more about general economics point of view, and many a times our examination doesn't require that much broader view. Okay, so we should be aware about what, how, why, where, when. When you prepare any topic, you should be aware. You should prepare with by keeping this perspective: what is the particular topic is, why it is important, and why it is useful. What is its utility, and how this topic can be used somewhere. Okay, and these things, and where from where you have to read this topic. These things are required. But I'm giving the list of. In the last, I will give a complete list of the books, but I'm just giving a brief overview here. Okay, so you can refer this either Paul Krugman, this International Economics by Theory and Policy by Krugman, or for public finance, Musgrave and Musgrave, or simply you can refer this particular single book. This is an agriculture to agriculture social sciences. It's a very handy book, and it is available in Amazon also, and available in Flipkart also, I think so. Now coming to the farm management economics, for farm management economics, Jolan Kapoor, Fundamental of Farm Management, Business and Management, is written by Jolan Kapoor. It is a book written by Indian authors. They were faculty from, I think, Punjab Agriculture University, Dr. S.S. Jor. And the thing is that he has discussed all the examples with Indian perspective in the with keeping Indian perspective in mind. So it is very easy to understand. Language is very easy. The thing is that the book is very crisp, but you have to be very thorough with all the concepts because questions do appear from this farm management economics. Okay. So apart from that, for production economics, there are two books. This Economics of Farm Production Management by V.T. Raju and D.V.S. Rao. And other book is for production economics by P.L. Sankhya. Those who want to prepare for production function, in production functions, you may not get this in V.T. Raju or Joel Kapoor, but definitely the specification of production function and what I was discussing about this computation of total cost, total variable cost, total marginal cost. Okay. And similarly for production function, marginal output, average output, all these things. This can be referred from this production economics book by P.L. Sankhya. These books might be available in your library. I think this book is not available in market right now, but I think it would be available in your library. There is no, it is also not available in internet also. So you have to make sure that you should know about this production functions because they do appear in examination very frequently in prelims examination and mains examination. You know, whether you are writing for preparing for NET or you are preparing for ASRB, this ARS examination, it will appear. So you cannot skip this production function. So you have to refer this P.L. Sankhya or any other source where these production functions are given in detail. When I was talking about this microeconomics book, this Nicholson and Cinder, there in this book also these production functions are given in brief, and I think that would be sufficient to write the examination, but may not be sufficient when you do real calculations or real computations. Okay, so for writing your ARS examination, this can be useful. This production function and this book, this microeconomic theory by Nicholson and Cinder, may be useful. Now coming to Agriculture, Finance and Corporation, again by S. Subbareddy and P. Raghuram. These books you all may be having, those who are preparing, seriously preparing for the examination. You all would be having this book with you. Go through this book, and again, the simple strategy is to play a game while you are preparing, which I have already discussed. So when you pick up any topic, just read the topic, then take a pause, then decide if you could have said the question paper out of this topic, what kind of questions or which questions you would be giving you would give to your aspirants. You can also make a group. Okay, you can also make a group with your friends or those aspirants, those who are preparing for this examination. And what you can do, you can decide a time, particular, maybe 1 day or 1 week time, and in that particular time, you take particular few topics. And you all see, you all set your own questions. Once you meet, you will see that the same topic has been seen through different eyes with different perspective. Maybe some of your friends may be setting some different questions on the same topic, which you could not have done. Okay, or many times your questions might be different from the questions which your friend might have said. So it will give a complete list of the important questions that can be asked from particular topic. You can take help of your teachers also in this case. Okay. For agriculture marketing, this S.S. Acharya and Agrawal, this agriculture marketing in India book, it is most referred book for agriculture marketing in India. But there are some there are some questions which do appear from the agriculture price analysis and policy book, which is again written by Acharya and Agril. So you have to read those things also. Because there are very few topics which are not in this first book, Agriculture Marketing in India, and which are specifically covered in this agriculture price analysis and policy book and Acharya and Agarwal, by Acharya and Agarwal. You can refer that book, okay, and like MSP policies. Otherwise, you can also Google about some policy agriculture price policy analysis, and from the topic which you get here, definitely you will get a lot of literature. But be selective. It should be from some genuine source, okay, the genuine source or genuine writer. Then only you have to read them. Other thing is that the discussion which the writers or studies or publication which is available online, that is context specific, and may not fulfill the requirement of an examination. For examination, we generally requires a theoretical kind of questions, which we should know the logic and theory behind a particular phenomenon. So for that, textbook is most preferred sources. But to get additional knowledge, you can always refer some web sources also, or some studies or reports from the government source or some of the experts in the field. Okay, now for agriculture project analysis, this Gittinger book by Gittinger is a wonderful source. Okay, but thing is that it is very costly book and perhaps may not be available online. So for that, thing is, what you can do here, you can take a particular topic like PERT and CPM, whatever topic is here. You just copy and paste this topic in your Google, okay, and then you will get to know about the different sources which are available online for this particular topic. Because this project analysis part, it is not subject specific. It is required in all the domains, in all the countries across the globe. So it is very general topic, and plenty of materials available for this agriculture project analysis part. So you can refer those parts, but your focus should be towards the theoretical part. You should not go much about the application part. You should learn the application which is required, which may be required in your career. But for examination in particular, you should be thorough with the theoretical part of your examination, because no one is going to ask you to make a PERT or CPM chart. But definitely they may ask you what is a PERT and what is CPM and how it is useful in agriculture projects. Okay, so you should be thorough with all these things, this theoretical kind of things when you are searching for any topic in Google. Okay. For research methodology and econometrics, this Gujarati basic econometrics by Doman Gujarati and Porter is a very wonderful book, easy to understand. I would suggest don't ignore econometrics. Even though you will ignore in examination, it will not ignore you. Even you clear the examination, it will not ignore you. It will again come to you with the same or even with more intensity that you have to learn it. Okay, you cannot skip econometrics if you want to be a good scientist or good academician or good researcher. You follow this basic econometrics by Gujarati. This book is also available online in Flipkart or Amazon, and examples given in this book are wonderful. And thing is that the soft copy of this book is also available in Google also, I think. So you can practice the examples given in this book by doing it in your Excel sheet or in your computer. In basic econometrics, actually there are very few topics which are important from the point of view of the examination, but econometrics as a subject is very useful in entire your career, entire your journey when as a researcher or as a scientist. Okay, so in econometrics, the one should be aware about this multicollinearity, heteroscedasticity, autocorrelation, dummy variable, simultaneous expression modeling, time series. Okay, OLS, assumptions of OLS. Okay, this blue conditions. You should be aware about all these things. And many of the times that a 10 marks question appears on this any of the topic, like what is multicollinearity, how it can be detected, and what are the consequences of multicollinearity and how it can be removed. There are 4 topics in multicollinearity, heteroscedasticity, autocorrelation. Okay, so you have to be very thorough, and you try to write answers to all these topics in such a way that if a question may appear for 10 marks, you would be able to write answers for the word limit which is required. And even if it can be asked in 5 marks questions, you should be able to answer. Other thing is that questions do appear in objective kind of objectives, and in 2 marks questions in mains. So be ready for with that kind of questions. And for research methodology, this C.R. Kothari and Gaurav Gar is a wonderful book, very easy to understand, but it may not be very useful if you may not be very useful because the weightage given to the examination, this research methodology portion is very less in the ARS examination. But you should be knowing some basic things like what are the basic steps which are required to conduct a research. Okay, to conduct an investigation. How you will go for sampling? What are the sampling techniques? Definitely, no one is going to ask you sampling techniques in economics examination because it is a part of statistics. But you should be aware because many times it is required somewhere or otherwhere in your entire career also, or maybe when you are doing your MSc or PhD or any kind of research study. Okay, so here is a list of the books. I will share this presentation with Sanjay sir. Those who are interested, they can use it. Okay, and here is the book list of books. You can also refer all these books for different topics. I have given the possible books which people generally refer for preparing this ARS net or ARS examination. And I have also told you about which book to refer. Okay, like in economics, I said you refer Kotsanis, and in development economics, you should refer Todor and Smith, like that. And one more thing is that now a trend is going on nowadays. The questions do appear from natural economics, or environmental economics portion. And thing is that many of the state universities or even other universities, they don't teach natural resource economics portion. So in that case, if you don't answer the questions from the portion, you would be at the lower edge than the students, those who answer that questions. So for natural resource economics, there are wonderful books available on internet. Even the topics are also important. It's available on internet, like fishery economics, forestry economics, and mineral economics. Okay, these things are important, and I have the notes of these topics with me. If anyone wants this notes of this natural resource economics, you can contact me at any time. You can just drop a mail. I will definitely very happy to respond to you. Okay. Other thing is that there are some questions appearing from linear programming, programming portion, and many of the times students afraid of this econometrics and linear programming because it requires a little bit of mathematics, but there is no need to worry. There is one book by operation research by Taha. I think this book is also available online, and those who want it, I can forward this book to you. You can refer this linear programming portion only linear programming portion from this operation research book. Here you will get about the transportation problem, assignment problem, this kind of things, which can be asked in your examination. Okay. And apart from that, for objective, there is one book by Objective Agriculture Economics by K.N. Ravi Kumar. You can definitely refer this book, but I am not sure whether question will appear from this book or not, because it depends on question paper setter from where he is setting the questions. But you can definitely do practice by following this book. Also, there may be some different objective kinds of books available in the market right now, because nowadays it is a trend that everyone is writing some objective or treatise on their domain. So there may be some different books. You can also refer those books, but follow this K.N. Ravi Kumar, and also follow those books, because if you do more practice, it will be really good for you only. But uh, don't don't waste much of your time on doing same thing which you know very easily. Try to give more time to the things which are very difficult for you, which you think it's important but you don't understand. One strategy which I followed while preparing for ARS is that I first of all I went to the syllabus, and I highlighted the points, topics which I know thoroughly. The topics which I know thoroughly, I read it once, I made notes out of them, and I forgot that I have to read these topics. Okay, so when you know the topic, it is very easy for you to finish that particular topic before time, not in time, but before time. And the time which you save in these topics, that can be devoted for the topic which you don't know. And the same things can be used in examination. When you appear for examination, first have a glance of the questions. Pick the questions which you can answer very well. Attempt those questions, and definitely you will save your time. And the time which you save on these questions can be devoted to the questions which you find somewhat difficult. Okay, so to answer these questions in examination, you have to follow a phase-wise strategy. In first phase, attempt only those questions which you are very sure that you know answer. Second phase, you attempt only the questions on which you have some doubts. Okay, means 60, 80, 20 or 60, 40 kind of thing. In third phase, you can look for the questions which are really difficult, but you can answer these questions. Okay, so in that way, you can manage your time. Okay, so these are some basic things which I have already discussed. What you have to do when you are maybe some of you might be in stage 1, that you should know your syllabus. You should do writing practice. There's one more thing, that you should finish about 80% of your syllabus before prelim examination. Why I say 80% of syllabus, because for prelims even 100% is required, but you should have a command on 80% of subject. Even even if you have to write your mains examination at the point of time of the prelims examination, you could able to do those things. Okay, so that would give you edge in prelims and mains also. And these are some of the points which are known to all. I have just jotted down here, so you can refer these points. Okay, thank you. I end my presentation here. You can definitely ask some questions if you have any doubt on this thing.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your guidance. I request all the participants, if someone has any query regarding this session or this regarding ARS examination, please ask to sir. Okay, not then, sir. Thank you so much for your guidance, sir. Definitely, sir, this session will help to our participant for their examination, not only for ARS examination, but all examination related to economics. And I would like to thank also my participant also, sir, because of their patience. And before concluding this session, I request all the participants, please join at 3:30 with our next session with Sharad sir, who will take session on economic growth and development. Thank you so much, sir.
So thank you, Praveen. Thank you,
Hello,
Sandeep.
hello,
Thank you,
sir.
Sandeep.
Thank you.
My
Thank
hello,
you.
sir. Can you give us your email ID and contact number, sir?
Yeah, definitely. I will share. Actually, Praveen, can you just help me? Actually, I am not able to stop sharing my screen. Can
Yeah,
you
okay,
can you do it at your end?
okay, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm giving you all my about email ID. This is my email ID, and this is my phone number. You can always reach me. Okay, at any point of time, you can reach me. And if you know, if you need any kind of notes on the topic, not exactly notes, but some topics on natural resource economics, because you may not be aware that which course to follow. Definitely, you can ask me, and I will forward those material which I have with me with you. But you can always refer some of the latest material. These materials I have downloaded a few years back when I was preparing for this ARS examination. But you can always rely on me for any kind of help for preparing for ARS examination or NET examination. Thank you.
Thank you so much all once again. Thank you. Have a nice day. Okay, I concluded my meeting here, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.